Hello, everyone. Welcome to Mox Gaming Center. Today, I am your host, James, and we are going over Factory Town patch notes. .036 is now live, and at the rate Eric is moving, there's a high possibility something newer is going to be out by the time I get this released. It is live on itch.io and Steam. He has two ways to deliver his beta program, depending on how and when he lets you into it, fixing many of the issues introduced by .035. Capped max unhappiness penalty at negative 50%. So in .035, he changed the way houses function. And the bonuses you get and negatives you get are related to the number of houses you have and how happy you have them. So when you have your houses unhappy by not feeding them, if you have more than 50 capable happiness, and if you don't supply all 50 of those, you will begin to incur a negative happiness penalty, which will reduce the productivity of your buildings. So he capped this at negative 50%, so that means your production from buildings will never drop below 50%. The overall town happiness indicator smiley face is now based on a ratio of provided happiness versus max happiness. So in 0.35 with the happiness change, he did not change the indicator in the top left-hand corner telling you just how happy everyone was. So you could have everyone really, really happy. And if you are early game, you just saw a basic happy face. So that is a change to 0.034. And he has now reverted back to a proper, according to him, a proper designator showing the level of happiness comparative to max happiness. I agree that it's probably proper, but I'm not going to determine what is proper or improper for his game and balancing and display. So when I say he feels it is proper, does not mean that I am disagreeing with him. It simply means it is his game. He is developing it. He decides what is proper for it. The kitchen now requires metallurgy research instead of a forge. A forge is released when you research metallurgy. Now, instead of having to build that forge, you get the kitchen automatically. I can definitely agree with that. Requiring a forge to build a kitchen doesn't quite make sense to me. They are different skills, even in the real world. Updated tutorial to reflect new house and marketing system. That is wonderful. The existing tutorial did not seem to cover it very well, and I think that's a good change to do to update the tutorial. House good tooltips now reflect their sell price. That's a nice positive change. So now you can anticipate the cost of goods and you can determine the best way for you to make gold. You can now pause and unpause in any modal menu. That doesn't force a pause state. So now what that means is you could be running through a menu, decide you need to pause while you're thinking, and hit the pause button, which is a space bar. And as long as you're not in a menu that forces everything to pause, it will pause and unpause in the background. The build menu will update affordability color if inventory changes while menu is open. That's a nice positive thing. So while you're trying to build, if you can't afford it, it'll be red. And it typically would not update until you clicked on it. And if you clicked on it and it was green and then you lost resources due to a wagon moving it or something like that, you would not get a display. It would shift around, and then the colors of the ghost image of the house would also not change. So that'll be a nice quality of life increase. Stone can now be delivered to a level 2+ houses to satisfy the shelter needs. Burns to gold. Stone, not cut stone. Okay. So there's a difference between stone and cut stone. So I guess this is a new level of shelter availability, because previously it went from cut lumber, cut stone, and then I can't remember what was after that, but you had nothing below cut lumber. So you were forced to go make stone bricks. They're actually pretty expensive. So this will be a nice quality of life change, so you can decide what level of effort you want to put in, especially once you get mines up and going, you can filter straight into the marketplace with your raw stone. Herbs can now be delivered to level 4 plus houses to satisfy the medicine needs. That's a nice positive, because medicine takes more effort to make than herbs, so being able to provide the lower end material is always a positive. Increased sale value of cloth, outfit, and iron plate. Those are all positives as well. Cloth was it's pretty costly to make, so increasing the sell value of it is definitely a quality of life increase. A specific error message is shown when trying to build without enough population capacity. That's a positive. Before, it wasn't as clear as it could be. You can now switch recipes instantly without waiting for the current recipe to complete. Avoids issues of getting permanently output blocked. That is a wonderful thing. That was a problem, especially early game when you're putting down a granary and you're trying to build animal feed for your pastures. If you placed it down and you didn't change it fast enough before a piece of wheat got in there, it was stuck and you weren't doing anything but deleting it and replacing it again. You fixed a migration issues from pre.035, preventing proper recipe loading on buildings that were previously output blocked. I did not experience that, but that seems like a nice bug improvement. Removed limitation that schools would not produce without a buffer of 100 golds. Players can instead remove workers from school. That's a nice quality of life improvement. If you have the gold available, let it run. Probably related to higher tier research, where 100 gold was probably the amount required. I didn't run into that issue. I have not gotten that far down the research tree yet. Fixed steam pipe layout tool not creating connections to underlying buildings at the start point of dragged line. I have not played with steam pipe yet. I have not experienced that, but that definitely seems like a nice quality of life bug improvement. Reduced fertilizer cost of tree planter from 5 to 2. That is a nice quality of life improvement and balancing, in my opinion, as the player. Fertilizer is a little costly to get, and you end up with a nice backlog of it. But when you go to use it, you use it pretty quickly, and it takes 2 iron as well for the tree planter. So reduced fertilizer costs kind of makes sense to me. Reduced duration of wells water production from 5 seconds to 2. I really, really like that one. The well, I thought prior to 036 was pretty much unusable due to it being so slow. Just to run a pasture at even partial capacity, I had 3 wells on it, and so that's 3 extra workers just trying to maintain one pasture. The well was pretty much unusable until this patch. I haven't tested this patch yet to find out where it is. The next one is fixed mana transmitter and receiver nodes casting shadows. That's probably a nice graphical upgrade. I have not gotten that far to know how that impacts the game. So those were the patch notes for .036. I will continue reading the patch notes as they come out. Next, we're probably looking at some variation of .036, an alpha version, or perhaps moving straight to .037. I will let you know when those come out. And I hope you all have a wonderful day.